Hey guys, Drakkalan here, bringing you another Calibria Crystal Guardians video. I wanted to do a quick state of the account review of my account, just to kind of show you guys what I'm working with and where I'm at. As you can see right now, I've got 2,000 gems, I've got 4,600 mana, or 4,000, 4.6 million mana. That came from the ×2 rewards mostly, and a ton of farming. I've been working on using that 3-day XP booster they gave us as to try to make up for the server issues we've been having for the last week or so. So if you look at my account, I currently have 5 6-stars. I have the fodder to make the 6th 6-star, which is going to be my shaman. But just want to let you guys know I'm not currently farming the catacombs, right? So as you can see, I've only gone up to stage 7 on the Colossus. Leviathan, I've only gone to 5. Magic catacombs, I've gone all the way up to 10. And I can farm 10, but it's just a lot faster to farm 8. And that's what I've been doing, is trying to just farm as much as possible on the tier 2 and tier 3 magic marks. As you can see, once you get to tier 8, you can only get 2 and 3 tier, and that's what I've been doing, you know, trying to get it as fast as I can so I can try to evolve all of my monsters. And I need tons of tier 3s, it's just taking forever. I'm also kind of marking down all the drops that I get from Magic 10, or just so I can try to run it 100 times and show you guys the rate of drop. The most common one so far has been the Mark II orbs. You get Mark II times 3 almost every single run. It's very rare that I see a single Mark III drop. So a lot of times I just end up crafting my Mark IIIs. We got Lawful Dungeon. I've gone up to 7. Chaotic up to 7. Evil. So and the reason I went up to 7 on those is for the fights, or the fight achievements. Same thing with Light Catacombs and Dark Catacomb, even though you don't get fight achievements for them. I could probably clear 10, I bet, with those, but haven't seen the point in doing that yet. I'll probably start farming Colossus once this double XP runs out, but I'm going to make the most of it while I can, even though I've been having tons of connection issues today. So back to the heroes. Right now, pretty much all of them, if you look at their runes, are 5-star runes. And this is what I recommend everybody do. Just go to Battle, Rural Plains, right, and this is where the Agile runes drop from. So instead of farming black pools a lot of time, when I have a hero I need to put some runes on, instead of going to Blackpool, I'll go to Rural Plains, and I'll just auto, 1 through 6. I don't do 7, because I don't have any reason to go for that. I just want to get all the rune slots filled that I can with the proper stat, the proper main stat. And this is the fastest way to do it. That way I can start using my heroes as needed. So when you look at these heroes, like I said, I haven't farmed Catacombs. I've only farmed Hell mode of Rural Plains. Everybody for the most part is on Swift, except for the one set of attack runes that you get as a reward, which are all plus 15 on my Spider Queen. And every now and then I found that she still loses when I auto black pulls. She either clears it very quickly, or she'll lose if the Dice Magicians, or the ones with the card spinning around them, if all of those spawn in the final zone and they stun lock her, she'll lose on occasion. So I'm going to swap her over to a Agile set as well once I start farming Colossus. Angel of Death I don't really use anymore, but I don't want to just throw her away. She's got some 4 and 5-star runes kind of tucked in. I'll probably move those to a primary DPS later. So, state of the account, right? What I've been shooting for right now is building a Colossus team with that double XP. And my Colossus team, as it stands, is going to end up being Popo as the primary DPS, putting his dots out. I'm going to run Celine as the primary healer. And I'm just putting this on here so you guys can see the stats that they've currently got, because I've got a feeling probably today or tomorrow, once that double XP runs out, I'll start running Colossus and then I'll do a video on it. Celine's definitely one of the strongest healers in the game. The skills I've got pulled up on her, I've got one more skill up to put in for cooldown recovery, but I'm just trying to get her to where she can heal as much as possible. And then I was going to start putting everything into Popo so that he can deal more damage, more debuffs, but I've decided instead to go with the Necromancer more than likely. Let me see. Looking at the skill ups needed though, we would need 13 for Popo and 15 for the Necromancer. I really want him to have his cleanse at 100%, but if we just make him fast enough, 100% is not really necessary. So we'll probably just stick with going with Popo next, it looks like, because I really need that debuff to trigger more often. I'm seeing that it just doesn't hit as much as I would like. And that rage cooldown would be nice to have. So, anyway, back to the team. It's going to be Celine. I guess you guys would probably be more interested in the skills. She's going to be running Moonlight. Moonlight's great. The haste is awesome, even though it's not a AoE haste. It still does a great job of keeping her faster. Or if somebody... A lot of times I see that it ends up on her or it ends up on the Necromancer. And that's exactly what I want to happen. I want her to be the fastest, or I want the Necromancer to be cleansing as fast as possible. And that 40% chance to slow, I'm not sure if that's calculated with the debuff trigger added in or not, but it actually lands quite often because of how fast she moves. So the boss is almost always slowed. The skill 2, as you can see, it's HP and haste for another ally. And then the skill 3, that resist crit rate for 2 turns, is actually pretty useful. Keeps people alive all the time. Her leader skill is resistance. I'm not too worried about that. The good thing about the resistance, it does add into your rune stats, and altogether you can have 100 resistance, you can have 100% hit, and you can have 100% crit rate. Those 3 stats cap at 100, so there's no point in trying to go over it. For anybody that's ever played Epic 7 or Raid Shadow Legends, a lot of people would have you go over 100% on certain stats. The only stats in this game that really matter about going over 100% would be attack and crit damage. So once we start to optimize everything in the next few months, just keep those stats in mind and the cap limits. So my Necromancer, these are the skills I'm going to be running him on. His skill 1, I'm just using that as a heal for everybody. Kind of make up for if they have a debuff that blocks heals, and Celine missed her chance to heal. He kind of keeps them up and running until she gets back around to it. This skill 2 with the attack buff, or attack debuff, is great. It's almost always on the boss because he's got it. It helps clear wave 1, wave 2, because a lot of people will die if they don't have an attack break on everybody, so we're not relying on a single target attack break to land. The cooldown's not too bad. Even at 4 turns, it's still almost always up. And then skill 3 is what we build Necromancers for, the cleanse and the restore HP, mostly for the cleanse. Definitely want to get that all the way up to 100%. And then his skill leader is HP plus 33%, so I'll probably either use him in Colossus or I'll use Popo for his defense skill lead. Shaman is kind of a sleeper unit. A lot of people weren't too concerned about him, and then somebody did a extremely fast Colossus run with him, and now you're starting to see him pop up in everybody's team. I know I saw Chalice using him on his team the other day. I haven't really taken too much time to look at his skills yet because it's going to be a while before I can skill him up. But what makes him so good, other than being another attack breaker, is that he can reduce defense on his skill 2, and his skill 3 does the Voodoo Curse. Right, and this is basically increasing damage, ignores defense. If damage exceeds target's HP while the curse is active, curse will explode, nil damage immediately. So he really speeds up the runs, he adds consistency. He's got defense break and attack break, which you want on all your units, or you want landed on the enemy units as much as possible. And then he's got that Guild War leader skill, crit rate 33%. Not really going to be that useful, but you can definitely see that they designed him to be a Guild War monster. See, I got Succubus the other day. I haven't built her yet, but she's definitely going to be one of my primary PvP units. My Mummy is 4-star, almost max skilled. Same thing with the Skywalker. I don't think I'm going to need them. I don't think I'm going to be using them. We'll experiment with it down the road. So another unit I wanted to talk about that nobody else seems to be using yet is the Cupid, right? And I didn't think he was going to be that good until I started running him a few times in the dungeon. So he's a Nat 3 light unit, and I just got him earlier today when I made my summoning video. So if you look at his stats, he can deal some pretty good damage. He's also got a hatred mark and a love mark that he puts out constantly. And as you can see, it increases damage dealt by 25%. And that's on a skill 1, it's on a skill 3, depending on which skill 3 you choose, and it's on a skill 2. So this thing is always on the boss, adding 25% damage dealt. Now I'm not sure how it works with dots yet. I'll probably look at that a little bit closer when I make a Colossus video. But I think people definitely underestimate this 3-star unit. And I don't have him built as an attacker yet, because I don't have runes with good enough substats to keep him alive. So his rune count right now is just agile, like everybody else. All 5-star runes, all white runes. Nothing fancy. I just have him on speed, defense, HP, so that he can survive as long as possible. Hopefully I'll have him at a 5-star today, tomorrow, and he'll be running with pretty much all of my teams. And then his skill 3, he's got multiple, what I would consider good skills. Oh, we're lagging a little bit. So use the power of love to attack all enemies. Deal 215% of attack and damage to all enemies. 80% chance to mark targets with a hatred mark for 2 turns. 100% chance to mark allies with a love mark for 2 turns. The hatred mark increases damage taken by 25%. The love mark reduces damage taken by 25%. So you're adding a lot of survivability to your team by having this out there. And if your healers are fast enough, right, I've already got good heals coming from the Necromancer and from Selene. And that's why I went with this, is it's kind of like a defense buff that's not defense. So you could technically optimize your teams to have a defense buff at all times, have this buff up at all times. And his heals, because I was swapping between these abilities while I was leveling them, they're actually pretty good. The 20% HP is amazing. And this works kind of like Chasun in Summoner's War. I haven't played it in a while, but you know how she would average out somebody's HP? And I think another healer did it in that game. And then they would do another heal on top of it at the end to bring everybody up. So that's a pretty cool ability. It does a ton of healing. And then Love's Verdict, that's also another great ability. It does the love mark, the hate mark, but it only does it to one thing at a time. But the rates are the same as far as the 25%. And that's why I decided to go with the God of Love ability. It's 6 turns, but again, if you build your units fast enough, you're going to be cycling through these turns extremely quickly. The Sweet Love, I tried this for a minute. It's pretty nice, but I just don't see me needing this much healing in the dungeon. So I'd rather have the extra damage, and it also does a Dispel and skill 2. So between the Hatred Mark and the Dispel, that's why I decided to build Cupid, because I don't have a good Dispel unit. A lot of people are using Druid, which I would use Druid if I had them, but I've been fortunate enough not to roll them. So this is going to be my workaround. Plenty of Ascension Cats to keep building more stuff. But I'm hoping to display to you guys a Colossus team, a Leviathan team, and maybe a team that can run all the B10 dungeons in the next day or two once I finish leveling these units. As long as I'd be done by now, but we keep having network connection problems, and my network connection just drops out. It takes like 15 to 20 clicks to get back into the game. I lose the reward that I was supposed to get, but the energy's still burnt, so kind of sucks. But if you guys have any questions, you've got any comments, you've got any recommendations to make, please let me know. I'll be working as hard as I can to get more videos out to you. Hopefully my editing gets better over time. So have a good weekend and let me know.